The stranger with my face was the man I loved. I thought I knew him. From the instant we intersected, there was a pull, a force of attraction that made the world around him fade away. His eyes are what I noticed first. Deep, familiar, like I had seen them somewhere before, in a dream that never fully materialized. It was comforting in its familiarity, a counterintuitive reassurance that murmured, "You belong here." His name was Alex. He was dashing in a discreet sort of way that didn't shout for attention. It simply got it. You had a serene self-assurance, a sardonic smile that could soften the coldest heart, and a laugh that seemed intended only for me. I was attracted to him like a moth to a flame, and before long, the intermittent hookups became something more. We began with coffee dates and long conversations that segued into late-night walks. He listened, truly listened. And when I spoke, he didn't just listen, he got me. I disclosed things to him that I had never told a living soul before. The petty humiliations, the gnawing terrors, the hidden dreams I nursed of life. There are two types of people when they talk to their dog, and he would share, but not always. His stories were always selected, just enough to make me feel special, just enough to trust him. It was intoxicating. I believed in him. I believed in us. When we kissed for the first time, it felt like realizing I had somehow come home. His lips were warm, his kiss gentle with the weight of promises I had not even begun to utter in words. And at that moment, there wasn't a part of me that ever thought he would be anything but mine. Every day turned into weeks, and before I knew it, he was my life. I stopped paying attention to the small incongruities, the odd unexplained phone number, a story that rang false, when he would be evasive about certain details in his narrative, like how his ex had suddenly started taking off with her women friends on trips at least once per month, although it turned out later on they were newlyweds, or how I'd noticed that his phone seemed to sound pleading one too many times for him to have it on vibrate, or how he sometimes needed to leave our dates early but gave no explanation. I avoided the little signs because my heart had already formed its own story. He loved me, just as I loved him. But love, I was about to learn, is never blind. It's just easily fooled. It started with little things. A wrong comment, a name that didn't register, an excuse without justification. I dismissed them initially. He had a busy life, the man told me. I wanted to believe him. I was ready to believe the man who saw me as though I were the only person alive. One night, I came across something that changed everything. His jacket was hanging on the chair in our apartment, which I'd left behind while he was away. In one of the pockets, I found an envelope containing a number of photographs. My heart tripped at seeing them. Images of him with another woman. The warmth in the images, the proximity, the gentle contacts. They were intimate, unmistakable. I even felt my world shift on its axis. I confronted him that night. I could ask him point blank, my voice shaking as I would say, "Who is she?" He gazed at me with those eyes I knew so well and had once been my refuge, but he didn't look away. There was no guilt, no remorse. A low, almost clinical calm that then made my stomach knot. "She's not like someone I'm hooking up with or anything," he told me, though the look in his eyes belied this. I wanted to beg him to tell me the truth. I wanted that tube of expired serum forgotten in his fridge and thrown away by a new girlfriend explained away. But even as I gazed upon him, I knew the truth I had trained myself not to acknowledge. This man, whom I had loved, was a stranger. The eyes I'd believed to be mine, ones that had provided comfort and sanctuary, weren't actually mine to recognize. With a different eye color, they belonged to someone else entirely. And then I realized it was the same person, whom I never actually known. The next few days were a whirl of grief and rage. Over and over I relived every second, each caress whispering of the forever to come, struggling to parse truth out of illusion. The man I loved had been so good at wearing a mask that I believed it was him. But there's nothing like grief to focus your vision. In the silence that followed, I started to notice the fissures I'd overlooked, small betrayals, a hidden life he had crafted alongside ours. Every new revelation was a sharper knife in the wound. At least not in the traditional sense. He wasn't a monster. He was a stranger who had learned to impersonate love, A man who could move into the body of someone I imagined I knew and make his face his own like an article of clothing. He could see me while hiding his life. That was the reason I hated him and pitted him as well. I let go because I did not forgive him. Holding on to the grudge would just continue the lie. Little by little, I began to take back my own life. I reconnected with old passions I'd let slide, surrounded myself with friends who knew me for who I was, not who he wanted me to be. Months after, I passed a cafe where we had spent hours. There was someone out the window I saw, laughing, alive. All that had come behind it never even known. And for the first time, I experienced a strange sense of closure. The man I loved was a stranger, yes, but the woman I was also becoming was finally acquainted with herself. The lesson, however cruel, proved stark. Love doesn't always protect you from betrayal, and familiarity doesn't always mean truth. Meanwhile, pain can show you strength, and heartbreak can remind you of who you are. His eyes, I can still remember them the way they used to imprison me. And now they are only a memory, and one more reminder that even people you don't know can dig chasms in your soul, constructive or destructive. And I laugh, not because he wasn't important to me, but because for once I remember me.